Welcome to Motorcycle News. We've just returned back from Spain where we was out with BMW to review their new 1250GS Adventure. All new model for 2019, but obviously it shares many similarities with the new 1250GS that was recently launched. If you scroll down on our menu, you'll be able to see the review of that bike. So it shares the same shift cam technology, which has increased the boost in power. Now the old bike, the 1200, is an award-winning bike here at Motorcycle News. We're not saying that the old bike is bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's still a formidable bike. But when you compare it to bikes like Ducati's Multistrada and KTM's big Super Adventure, it was down on power. And when you fully loaded the bike, you fully loaded the fuel tank, the panniers, put a pillion on back, and you was abroad in Germany possibly, or going up the Alps, it did feel a little underpowered. That has all gone because there's been a significant boost in power. How the Adventure differs from the standard GS: you have longer travel suspension, a huge 30-litre fuel tank, and different cosmetics and looks, but otherwise it's essentially the same bike. Braking has obviously changed this year as well. BMW decided to remove the Brembo stoppers and gone with something that they produce with an American company who are more accustomed to producing downhill mountain bike brakes. The brake feeling is exactly the same. In fact, the feel is probably a little bit better. What we need to do is scientifically put the old bike and the new bike back to back to see if there is an actual difference in the brakes. But even though they're not Brembo racy items, they're still really impressive. Like the old model, the ESA and the suspension is very much exactly the same. As I say, the only big difference is the engine and the brakes. We also got the opportunity to take the bike off-road, and there's no hiding the fact that it is a big bike. If you're under kind of 5'7", 5'6" is kind of like the limitations. They do a lower seat model, which does help off-road. But once you get traveling with the bike, literally once the wheels are turning, the balance of the boxer engine gives it a really low weight. And it makes it really easy to ride off-road. You wouldn't think so. And I know everybody tells you that a GS is easy to ride off-road. But when you look at it, it looks so intimidating because it's so big and so heavy, but it really isn't. It's so manageable at low speeds. The new engine with the shift cam hasn't changed the low speed fueling. It's absolutely perfect. You shouldn't feel intimidated because it's got more power. And if you go for the top spec model, you do have the Enduro and Enduro Pro, which encourages more slides, disengages the traction control, and can disengage the ABS front and back. On the downside, price has increased a little bit. The model that you're seeing in the footage now is $18,250. If you go for the top TE model, that's £18,000, which is a lot of bike to throw around off-road. The old bike for a similar price was about £1,000 less. All in all, to sum up the bike, the old bike was an award-winning bike. It was group test winning bike. It was a phenomenal bike, and you can see that by the sales. You go to any bike meeting, any BSB, and it's full of 1200 GSs. The new bike has just upped the ante a little bit. It's increased the power and increased the torque. It's still not on par with bikes such as Ducati's Multistrada or KTM's because they're 150, 160 horsepower. However, it has increased the fun factor because you've just got more zap and more guns and more fun. The big 1250 GS has never been so much fun. If you've got the old model, I wouldn't go to a showroom and try the new model because if you do, you will end up trading up and buying. Stay with what you've got, enjoy it. But for those moments where you do feel slightly underpowered and you want that little bit more pep, then get down to the BMW showroom, try the new model, but be warned, you will be putting down a deposit.